I'm back at the unnamed 41-acre property along the Mohawk River in the town of Clifton Park, going to see what ephemeral spring wildflowers and other spring season wildflowers we can find. Here we have the first long-spurred violet that I've seen in bloom this year. Gets its name from the long spur at the back side of the bloom. Long-spurred violet. Here we have northern spice bush. If it'll stay in focus for you, you can see the tiny little yellow flowers. And again, this is a fairly tall shrub, likes wet soils, northern spice bush. And here we have bloodroot. As you can see at the very end of the flower stalk, I meant to say, is the seed pod that's forming. That's already done blooming. It was in bloom just a week ago. And here's a nice pair of Carolina Spring Beauty in bloom. Beautiful petals. Here we have a classic yellow trout lily. Probably one of our most common ephemeral spring wildflowers. Here we have cut-leafed toothwort. Now we find some May apples. They're going to be blooming early to mid of May. And all the ones you see here are just one leaf. This is the first year of a 2-year plant growth, except for this one right here. You can see that it's got a flower bud on it. It will actually have 2 leaves, and the flower will be kind of in between the 2 leaves. This is May apple. Beautiful white flower will be coming up in a couple weeks. Here we have common shadbush. Goes by a few different common names. Also serviceberry, juneberry. As you can see, it's a small tree. It can actually be fairly large. It's got pretty smooth bark on it. Come back and take a look at the bloom. It's a 5-petal white flower. And when you're driving down the road in the springtime at this time of the year, you see trees that are just full bloom with white flowers and no leaves. You can see leaves just barely starting to emerge. This is what the tree that you're seeing. Oftentimes it'll be near water or fairly damp soils. This is common shadbush. Another look at common shadbush, and you can see again the 5-petal white flower. But when the flowers are in bloom and you can see the leaves emerging like this one, you look at the back side or underside of the leaf, and when it's downy like this, that's the telltale sign of common shadbush. When it's smooth, there are no fine hairs or that downy appearance, then it's our other species of shadbush, and that's called smooth shadbush. Here we are along the Mohawk River atop the cliff face, the bluff along the river. And in this particular spot, we again have a little clump, a couple of small common shadbush. Wanted to give you an idea of just how distinctive they are when they're in full bloom. And these little shrub form here are really just opening up. You can see the clusters of flowers. They'll of course have clusters of red berries that will ripen in June, again rising to its other common name of juneberry. This is common shadbush. Another of our spring season wildflowers. We have a few different species of this particular one. This is plantain-leaved pussy toes, and the first part of its name, plantain leaves, you can see by the broad kind of roundish basal leaves of the plant. These flower heads that are setting, not quite open yet, and that's where it gets its distinctive name for this one and the other 2 species of pussy toes. Looks like little paw pads of a cat's foot. This one is be blooming soon. This one is called plantain-leaved pussy toes. Here's another nice cluster of common shadbush coming out of the cliff face here along the Mohawk River. I'll see if I can zoom in a little bit more. They're down near about midway down near the bottom of the bank, so I'm not going to climb down to them. But I wanted to give you an idea of just how wonderful the trees and shrubs can look when they're in full bloom. They really do catch your eye as you go by. Again, along the Mohawk River, and of course on the other side is the Niskayuna Bike Trail. Now I did happen to find another cluster of plantain-leaved pussy toes, and these are actually blooming. They're going to open up just a little bit more, so probably on this south-facing slope, and with the warm weather that we're having, this is really kind of have them open up a little bit earlier than normal, usually in the first or so week of May. Again, plantain-leaved pussy toes. And fortunate enough to find one last of the round-leaved hepatica still in bloom, one of the gorgeous kind of light purple colors, round-leaved hepatica. And now you can also see one of the white versions of the round-leaved hepaticas, and of course you can see the leaf there on the bottom, on the ground I should say. Again, round-leaved hepaticas, really just about wrapping up its blooming. And hopefully you can make it out pretty much right in the center of the frame, just above the surface of the water on a log, is a great blue heron. His head just moved. The other one in the pair I've been chasing back and forth as I've been circling the pond. This is a pair of great blue herons. Hopefully they're going to be nesting in the immediate area. You can see our friend the great blue heron in the middle of the picture now. I think he's about ready to take flight once again. This is one of the pair that I've been jostling with around the pond all day today. Again, it's pretty much right in the center of the frame. There we go. And he's taking flight. Oh, sorry. Oh, he caught a fish. That's our great blue heron. Hopefully this pair will stay here and nest, and we'll see them throughout the year. And our final flower of the day is small flowered crowfoot. It's in the buttercup family. It's really one of our earliest bloomers, happening now, just the first one I've seen blooming. But what's interesting about this plant, it's the smallest flower of any of the buttercups. But what's interesting is that the basal leaves are almost round paddles, kind of what you see here. And then as we move up the plant, we get lobed leaves. And near the top of the plant where the bloom is, then we see very elongated, almost lanceolate type leaves. And this is, again, small flowered crowfoot.